This is the third round of the 2011 ARLA Thunder Trucks campaign, a doubleheader with Formula Overdrive at Sonoma Raceway. That race is coming up next, but right now, Toby Armstrong leads the field to the green flag with his Pearson-Sweeney teammate, Brian McGinnis, in the 8 on his right side. Armstrong and McGinnis were dead even off the start, but Armstrong finally gets the advantage coming through the S's, and he pulls ahead of McGinnis with Jamie Flock in tow. The drivers are about to learn why 4 wide does not work at Sonoma. Christian McMullen, Michael White, Phineas Marshall, and Aaron Cruz are 4 wide coming off the hairpin. Cruz and Marshall get together, and this triggers a big pileup on the front stretch. Several cars go flying. Matthew Gray is involved. Damon Shelton went upside down. So did Travis Yates and Daryl Sullivan. Here it is again. I'm not sure how they managed to get 4 wide off the hairpin, but it quickly falls apart. It looks like Michael White pinches Phineas Marshall into Aaron Cruz. Matthew Gray in the 25 is nowhere to go. And then everybody else piles in. Chester Benson, Denise Wiener, Fozzie D'Annunzio, Jade Boyer, Armand Mitro, Des Inman, among others. Wyatt Dyers in the 9 just narrowly missed this wreck, but then he tags the wall in turn 1. And then as he tries to pull himself together, he gets rear-ended by Gregory Coyle in the 188 and goes spinning off into the grass. Aaron Cruz came back out after having repairs done to that 24 car. However, he starts impeding Toby Armstrong, and that's going to allow Jamie Flock to close up. But Armstrong gets a run on Cruz, and he's able to get by him coming through the hairpin. Riding on board with Jamie Flock, it is now his turn to get held up by the 24. Do you see that white dot in the distance? That is Toby Armstrong. He is now able to just drive away from the field thanks to the 24. A bad day gets worse for Armand Mitro. He spins the car while battling with James Shoemaker, and then he gets hit by Ryan Griffin and Cody Richards. Aoi Tanizaka in the 59 went for a spin right behind him, and there goes Tanizaka. Christian McMullen in the 17 also goes for a spin without any assistance, but to be fair, I think he was trying to react to this incident in front of him. Then we had another big incident coming into turn 6 when several cars spin off. Mario Franchetti is the first to do so. Troy Adams, Ansgar Clemens, Franchetti's teammates, Ihaxiu, Zach McCormick, Matt Pearson, Alan Hatfield, among others. Earl McDermott got in there as well. More problems for Wyatt Dyers. This time, Fozzie D'Annunzio in the 77 just drives right into the 9, coming into turn number 1, and he goes off into the grass again. Dyers is able to limp back onto the track. Here comes Matt Pearson in the 2. They had to take the hood off of that car. Wyatt Dyers washes up the track and takes Matt Pearson off the road with him. I'm not sure why he did that, and apparently the officials were wondering that too because they called him right to the hauler. Wyatt Dyers would then begin to hold up Jamie Flock in the 46. This is going to further infuriate his peers and allow Toby Armstrong to extend his lead even more. Alexander Wolf and Ross Carter are having good runs today. Wolf has been a consistent top 10 qualifier, while Ross Carter has not had the best of luck so far. Wolf was just held up by Wyatt Dyers, and this is going to give Ross Carter a go at him. But then Wolf is going to hand Ross Carter the position when he gets into Matt Pearson and takes both cars into the wall. Wolf damages his car and loses quite a bit of time, dampering his hopes for a good run today. Toby Armstrong kicks off pit stops. Jamie Flock is several seconds behind, and he follows Armstrong into the pits. Brian McGinnis, running in 3rd, does the same. Ross Carter is in, and I mistakenly thought he was in 3rd place earlier. Michael White in the 0 is going to stay out. Alan Hatfield comes in. Hamilton Porto and Brandon Holland are in. Zach McCormick, Casey Campbell, Mario D'Souza. Toby Armstrong has an extremely slow pit stop. That huge advantage he had does not mean a thing as he loses 3 spots on pit road. Tough break for Toby Armstrong. He is almost certain to not be able to make up all that time unless the people in front of him have problems. But in the meantime, Jamie Flock is your new leader. The Canadian touring car driver made his ARLA debut last season, subbing for the injured Jason Teller, and he performed well enough for Zenith to justify putting him in one of their trucks this year. And right now that decision seems to be paying off as Flock holds a big lead over Brian McGinnis. As Matt Pearson nurses his crippled car around the track, Armand Mitro doesn't seem to have any love for him as he drives right through the 2 on his way to the pit lane. Mitra was promptly called to the hauler. I don't believe you can get away with calling that an accident, but I'm not entirely sure what was going on between the two in the 09. Coming through turn 1, Mario Franchetti in the 4 seems to have some kind of problem, and he drops off the pace, but Mario D'Souza gets into the 4 and turns him off the track and into the tire walls. This is going to take Franchetti out of the race. Hamilton Porto is making his ARLA Thunder Trucks debut, and he is currently running up inside the top 10 in the Sparkplug Racing Machine. In 2010, Porto ran a very successful ARLA Street Stocks team and got a victory in the CRL Modified division, but before that he had not done much aside from winning the 2006 Elite Series season opener. So maybe we'll be seeing a lot more of Hamilton Porto from now on. Aoi Tanizaka has been off the pace for most of the day, and here comes Jamie Flock to put her lap down. 46 and 59 get together. Tanizaka clips the tire walls and gets shoved off the track by Jamie Flock. Here it is from on board the 46. He moves over to the left to get by Tanizaka, but she pinches him over. Tanizaka then clips the tire wall and back into the 46, which gives him some pretty significant left front damage. However, Jamie Flock appears to be unfazed and keeps going without pitting for repairs. The battle for second starts to heat up in the closing laps of the race. Ross Carter gives Brian McGinnis a shunt coming into the hairpin. McGinnis gets shoved over a little bit, but he is able to hold off Ross Carter. And then on the final lap, Ross Carter overdrives turn 6 and goes off into the dirt. Ross Carter throws away third place on the final lap, and he will lose several positions. And at the business end of the field, Jamie Flock walks away with his first career ARLA Thunder Trucks victory. The Formula Overdrive race kicked off with Patrick McNeil driving for the McSwain Technical Academy, leading the field to the green flag. The engine for that car was built by the students at McSwain Tech. I'd have to say they'd be pretty proud of seeing their work sitting on the pole. However, McNeil receives a challenge from defending champion Luke Warmwater, and there goes Warmwater with the early lead. We had an early race incident when Larry Williams and the Clartech gets into Evan Waters in the I-Colts coming off of the hairpin. They collect Patrick Johansson in the Corvette, and then Johansson is hit by Marvin Zakajowski in the other Clartech. But we were not done yet. Larry Williams is going to get into Evan Waters once again, taking both cars into the wall, and Evan Waters goes barrel rolling down into turn number 1. Both drivers were okay, but Larry Williams was immediately called to the hauler because that was an absolutely ridiculous maneuver. Riding on board with Williams, it looks like he might have been a little upset about that contact with Evan Waters. I just can't think of any other explanation as to why he just drove right into the I-Colts. Christophe Tremblay in the Quantum is going to go off the track after overdriving turn 2. He tags the guardrail, but he keeps going. You see Peter Creamer in the last row machine doing a bit of rallycross of his own. In the meantime, Luke Warmwater has pulled out to a healthy lead in the SAR. He crashed out of the first 2 races. In fact, he went out on the first lap of the season opener. So it appears that he is redeeming himself so far. However, Warmwater would soon have to deal with the lap car of Marvin Zakajowski, but he is quick to dispatch the Clartech, but his opponents were not so lucky. Second place Kiriki Hitsuno gets held up behind Zakajowski, allowing Warmwater to pull out to an even bigger lead. All of the leaders would dive into the pits on the same lap to kick off pit stops, except for one. Marcus Lloyd, driving the other McSwain Tech machine, stayed out for an extra lap to gain time on his competitors, and this call paid off for Lloyd as he found himself well in the top 10 when pit stops cycled out. In the meantime, Luke Warmwater continues to lead the race with Kiriki Hitsuno and Miko Forstrom right behind him. Hitsuno won at St. Petersburg, while Forstrom came home with the second place finish at Watkins Glen last week. Peter Creamer dipped his car off the track once already in this race, and now he's going to just completely throw the car into the wall in turn 2. Creamer actually showed some decent speed at St. Petersburg, but since then, everything's gone kind of downhill for him. Jorge Ramirez becomes the next victim of the hairpin as he self-spins into the tire walls. However, Ramirez and the Toth is going to soldier on. With 2 laps to go, Luke Warmwater has encountered the lapped car of Patrick Johansson. He gets held up behind the Corvette with Kiriki Hitsuno closing fast, and Luke Warmwater hooks Patrick Johansson into the wall. Kiriki Hitsuno is collected. Mikko Forsström pounces and takes the lead of the race. Forsström shoots to the right, and he gets by Hitsuno coming into the hairpin, but Mikko Forsström spins the car. Kyle Gaffigan spins too and pins Forsström against the tire wall. Hitsuno gets away as more cars start spinning in the hairpin now. All hell breaks loose in the hairpin, coming to the white flag. Patrick McNeil is around. Vijay Pachanda and Regina McLeod. I believe that's Soze Kaiser going around just up ahead. Cesar Gonzalez Jr. decides to join the party. Everything finally settles down, but what a heartbreak for Luke Warmwater, who is thoroughly dominating this race. Kiriki Hitsuno reassumes the lead after Mikko Forsström goes for his spin, but she is well off the pace. And there goes Kyle Gaffigan, her teammate, zipping by Hitsuno for the lead. Kyle Gaffigan won the pole at St. Petersburg, but crashed out on the first lap. However, today he redeems himself by taking the win at Sonoma, capitalizing on the misfortune of the leaders. And there you see Mikko Forsström recovering for a second place finish.